Hello, and welcome to the SP Film Viewers podcast.
We're your hosts, Sophie and Paul, where we talk about movies I've never seen.
And sometimes movies I've never seen.
You can find us on all major podcast platforms.
Please remember to subscribe and review our show wherever you listen.
And follow us on social media. Just search for SP Film Viewers.
And now, on with the show. Hello and welcome back to anime.
Yay! Where all the cherry blossoms out, and it's normally April, but yeah. But our cherry blossom is out in May. Mm-hmm. Don't know, just seems warmer, seems like nice anime weather.
I guess.
If you're picking the good animes, that is where it's like all springy. So yeah.
Sounds like, yeah. And for our first outing this year, we're going to be revisiting one more time a movie, or you could call it a extended music video.
Yeah.
That we didn't cover at the end of last anime because of a situation that happened with the family pet.
Yeah. We lost our little Georgie, didn't we?
Yeah.
So it was in respect of him to not do a podcast.
So now we're bringing it back round.
And
so
as well.
So I guess we're going to dedicate this episode in his memory, if you will.
I like that.
Yeah. I think because we didn't get around to do it, and I did want to do it, even though it's you might think there's not much context in it, but I think just as something to get people to check out for themselves, I suppose, especially if you like the music of Daft Punk and you like anime, then this is like straight off the bat, this is like a good pairing of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
I think this is something for me, like, we did watch this beforehand and we were ready to review it. So this is like my second watch of it. And I think it's definitely, you grow an appreciation for it. It's quite relaxing to watch. Like, it's not very hard. There's not much text.
There's no text at all. There's no dialogue. It's all just told with music and you're relying on the visuals to tell the story, which I don't know, like, from how you felt from that, whether you got a sense of this all makes sense, because I know like things like Pixar shorts do that, and or other films, animation films, that they have to have a strong visuals, and if there's no dialogue at all, that's got to come across
even more
to get the thoughts and emotions through. So how did you find that again from revisiting? Did it improve in the first?
I think it definitely improved. I think I understood it more. I understood what the end goal was and like the moral behind the story.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's visually pleasing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of relate to it in certain aspects of your life. So even
really? Go on.
Well, even like in a corporate world, like even if you just put it from that perspective, like working versus being at home, I think I can see that, like, obviously they're an alien, aren't they?
Well, yeah, so I'll go through.
Bear with, because my point is,
okay.
When you're at home, let's say like you're doing your hobbies that you like and you're enjoying, you're quite full of life. I guess depends on what environment and work environment you can go into. If it's like quite a corporate ladder, it could suck the life out of you, and that's what I'm meaning, kind of in the same capacity as what this does. Like, it's basically showing something you're passionate about and you love, then gets rammed down your throat too much, and then you hate it. Isn't that right? That what my interpretation's right? Like, it is just like to do with being quite free and passionate and being able to be musical as an alien.
In this sense, yeah, it is. So a little bit of background on the film itself for people who may not know. The film is titled Interstella 5555, or 4 5s.
What does the 4 5s mean?
Well, that plays into the story.
It does, but when you're reading it, is there any other reading?
Well, this is like colon, then it says the story of the secret star system, but the S's are 5s, and what's written down on the cover here.
Sorry?
There, look. I've got you. 5 Tory of the 5 Ecrit, 5 Tar, 5 Eastham is if you were to read it like.
I get what you're saying now.
I'm trying to think where I must have got this from eBay or something like years and years ago, because I don't even know if you can get a hold of a Blu-ray copy now. That's how we watched it.
It looks like somebody's burned a CD.
What do you mean?
It's such a thin Blu-ray case.
Yeah, I think it's official and everything. I think it's from maybe like a French import or something like that, but it's still played. Obviously, there's no... It did come up saying like English or Francais.
It doesn't really matter, does it, though?
What does it matter?
What, would the Daft Punk be singing in French?
I don't know. But anyway, so I think it's just obviously for the menus and stuff like
picking through. I'm going to say, otherwise, I don't think they would change the language, because that'd be hard work, and why only English and French? It's a bit unfair.
Biased. But so this came about during the production of, halfway through working through the Daft Punk's second album, Discovery. So the concept to like create music videos or for a few songs, and then they're thinking like, okay, well maybe if we could, absolutely credible to like make music videos for all our songs and then put them all together to make one feature length film. Studios were obviously a bit like, no, that's too expensive. So they took it up on themselves to be like, well, okay, we'll fund it then. We'll fund everything. Yeah, so the two guys, Daft Punk, are Guy Manuel de Homan Cristo and Thomas Bangalter. Daft Punk are a French house band.
So is that why there's a French option? Maybe they could speak in French. Maybe they will be, actually. Un, deux, trois.
And so they wanted to do a collaboration with, like, I guess, like a idol of theirs from who worked in anime and manga, Leiji Matsumoto. I haven't seen any of these other work.
I was going to ask you that, and you're getting there before me.
So all I know is he's mostly worked on like sci-fi manga films rather than anime, but he has done some anime. Obviously, that's what inspired him. There's a show called Captain Harlock, which I haven't seen myself, but obviously, like, it must have been like early 90s animation, and they must have been inspired and seen like by the work of that, and thinking that's how, I guess, if that works in the same vein, like a sci-fi anime to work, that'd be cool to do. So they managed to put that together. I think there's a lot of back and forth between, going between France, Tokyo, to make that all work, but they did. It took about 3 years to do. So,
is that because of the communication, or is that because of the way that the animation is done?
Well, yes, I think it's a bit of both, really. There's the translation coordinator to obviously bridge the gap between like, we want to do this, and this. So
time difference as well.
Yeah, things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of effort put into putting this together, and I think it really shows like how much dedication they wanted to put into us, because I think it's really solid. Even though it's like a very short anime, so to speak, I think it really works.
Yeah, but it's short and compact, and there's not much wasted fodder. Like,
well, no, because essentially it is the whole album, which is about an hour's in length, put together to follow a story and everything.
I know I said to you, like, obviously you're quite a big Daft Punk fan, and you've got like it on vinyl and everything. I think I only really listen to Daft Punk when I'm with you. If I'm honest, it won't be like I'm going to put a Daft Punk album on, and that'd be me listening to it by myself. I'd only probably do it if you had it on your Spotify or you put the vinyl on.
Yeah.
It won't be me going out of my way probably as much. I think like One More Time, you just know it's a classic. And the harder, stronger,
better, faster, stronger.
Yeah. Like, but then I used to think, don't kill me. If somebody said, putting that on, I'd have gone, it's Kanye. Like, that's where I'd have gone because of the voice. Like
the sample and stronger.
Yeah. Oh, if I'm honest, please don't shoot me. So where I'm going with this is, for you, I think you're going to have a lot more love for it and a lot more appreciation and understanding for when the songs and the timings and everything come into beat. I think what I'd find interesting personally for me is like I did say to you, like the Weeknd's albums are really like seamless. Like Dawn FM and the newest one he's done, I forgot what it's called now, After Hours.
No, Hurry Up Tomorrow.
Hurry Up Tomorrow, After Hours.
It was before Dawn FM, yeah.
Basically, any of those three, I think, all kind of seem in. I think Dawn FM is the one that I'd say definitely.
I mean, he's tried to do that in music videos, but I don't know there'd be a lot more work
100%
to do with that, because, I mean, they're not animated or anything like that. Is that what you mean, or just having like a live action?
What I mean is it could be animated or live action, but he could do a similar principle is what I'm trying to say. How he does it is a different matter, but like because the way the songs just fade into one another, you could do the same idea with it.
Yeah, I don't know if it would quite work the same.
It'd be a lot darker.
It would, but I think there'd also be a lot more things need explaining, like cuts between the songs. I don't think it could. Not certain songs. There's always like a pause. There's like it's not an all-encompassing like flowing kind of theme is what I'm getting at really. Whereas you kind of, because of the nature of what.
Because it's like a DJ track, isn't it? Yeah. Not meaning that in a bad way, but it is like the fade in, fade outs, and they can get away with it a bit more, I'd say. Yeah. But I think that's where my brain led me to, because this is obviously, I don't think, unless I have listened to the album end to end, obviously we've watched this twice, and maybe you have had the vinyl on, but I never know what order it would be in, because I'm not as passionate about it. Like, like if I had the Weeknd on, and you put on like side A or D, let's say, and did it backwards, I would know, like.
Yeah. Obviously, you spend more time with an album, then you kind of also know, and especially if it's only like a very short one as well. Like, we're going off topic here, but it's fine. No, I think obviously like an album that I really liked last year at Last Dinner Parties.
Yeah, you can say that.
Prelude to Ecstasy, and that one I knew what the next tracks were coming, because there's only like 10 tracks on that or something like that, 10 or 12. And it's like, I know as soon as I think, right, I kind of know what song's coming next, because obviously you listen to it so many.
Didn't they do something similar as well? It wasn't the whole album.
No, they did like a what do you call it now?
Felt like a little mini movie.
Yeah, for lack of a better word, like a mini movie of some of their songs. Yeah, for on thing, but there was like a 10-minute.
Do you think that's one of Taylor Swift's songs?
Yeah.
But I think artists are doing it nowadays, where even like All Too Well is like a full movie production, for that 10-minute length feature. So
getting more bolder that, and we'll touch back on Taylor later on in this discussion. But
okay. Any more Taylor is great by me.
more just of the context of what this film goes through. So we're going to, because obviously the nature of this as well, like we're going to go through the songs and then like the scenes that are playing out. We don't normally go through scene by scene, but I think in this case it makes more sense to do that. So,
I'm going to need your help on this because I feel like I normally drive the beat for beat of scene for scene.
Yep.
Or what happens.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I think I'm not going to know the names of the songs apart from one more time.
Same. Which we're going to start with, because that's the opener of the album. So we're on a alien planet, all these blue people.
They're like Smurfs.
A little bit, I suppose. They're all happy and singing along.
Smurfette, she's got like really blonde hair, so it kind of. When was this created? Sorry.
Much later after Smurfs were.
So it could be Smurf inspired.
Possibly, yeah.
Because she does look a bit Smurfette-y.
Yeah, and they're singing along or performing on stage.
Having a whale of a time. They seem like a big pop band on whatever alien planet they're on.
Yeah.
But they seem to be really enjoying being on stage, and everyone's dancing and having a good time.
Yeah.
Until.
Yeah, they do. I think it's later on they mentioned that they do have names given to them.
Yeah, they do.
But for the sake of thing, I'll mention them now. I think we've got Octave, who is the singer / keyboardist, the one who's got the mini afro, so to speak. Barrel, who is the drummer, who's he's the most like anime one. He's got the most like expressive. Got the small eyes, and
he reminds me of Animal on the drums a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Arpeggios, who is the blonde guitarist, and then Stella, who's the bassist.
She's like Esty. Oh, Esty. What's her name? From Heim.
Yeah, Esty, you're right, yeah.
Stella. She just don't pull weird faces.
Bass face, no.
Yeah.
From, obviously, reflecting on this, do you have like a favourite band member, as it were, even though...
Oh, from here?
From this, yeah.
I thought you meant just in general, then.
Crescendoles, who, again, that's the name they get given later on.
Has to be the little drummer, doesn't it?
You like the drummer, yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Of course I do. I love drums anyways in any kind of band. And I think he's just, I don't know, he's just adorably cute.
Yeah, he's expressive, isn't he?
Yeah, and in the end he becomes very, like, useful. He's the one, like, that's, you know, I think being more the handiest one out of all of them.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, so in the second run, I think I thought a girl being a bass. I do like the bass guitar.
Well, you had a bass, didn't you? But you just couldn't learn it.
Couldn't learn it. It's too much effort. And so, because they're such a great band, there's some like overseeing, like foreboding figures, like like I want those on this band, and slowly but surely he comes to invade the planet, and like these henchmen with like gas masks and stuff start appearing, and then that kind of transitions to the next song, Aerodynamic, with the dong, and it's like a more fast paced do like, so like shows like the sort of like attention build at that point, because it's all like, you know, like the one more time is like very like happy, like everyone's enjoying themselves kind of thing, and then it kind of, I was like, right, swift tone shift for that. And I think I noticed as well, like with that, I think I know it's not possible all the time. It's great when you can like incorporate like the animation timings of stuff, like with the music and stuff. I think there's like a very couple. I think like the drummer kind of hits at like one that's hit before it gets knocked out with like the gas and something, like, and then there's sort of like when guitarist gets like shot in the back with an arrow. I think there's like the music builds even more then, I think, and things like that that's kind of picking up on.
True animator would know and pick up all of these things as well as a true music enthusiastic.
Yeah, and even at the end of that sequence where the guy on the ships is like calling like for assistance, like the bat signal type of thing, he's like dong, and it hits the button and it then goes into the next. But
in that the button to get the guitar ship.
Guitar, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. What did you like make of that whole sequence with when they're getting invaded? And
it is quite traumatic, like for him. Like it is like a thing of invasion, and there's guns, and the way that they're portraying the character compared to like the colourful brightness of One More Time, the tone changes, and it's really clever because you actually, there's no, like we're saying, there's no text, it's just visualising.
There's no, at this point, there's no even like sound of like gunfire or anything like that. Yeah. It's, you know, like smoke effect. It's all just playing out just with the music and as the background,
and it works really well. Like they fit the pieces together, like to build that atmosphere with the soundtrack. And
then we get to, well, it's favourite of the album, and also like one of my favourite songs ever.
Ever?
Yeah, really.
Ever?
Yeah, ever. ever. Yes, the song called Digital Love.
Brown-haired guy.
Yes.
Fancies big bass lady.
Yeah. His name is, I had to dig out that from like other videos and stuff, but he's called Shep.
Shep.
Yes. Don't know why, but...
Like Chep, but with a Shep.
It's like a dog's name, really, but...
Yeah.
Just a bit. But, yes, so his bit is like kind of fading, transitioning into like, oh, the signal gets to him, but he's like sort of singing along to the song when he's outside like cleaning his spaceship and everything, and then he goes into like it kind of fits well with that, because he's like having like a dream about like being with Stella, the bassist, in this dream world. So it's like digital love meaning I guess the way I kind of connect with it, digital love meaning like how you connect with somebody online. Okay. Which is kind of what we did.
Oh, that's cute.
So
did you actually love me at that point, though?
Grew to love. Didn't I? Well, that's just...
Grew to love. Oh, you're so hard done to. You gave me something so nice. He was like I love. And then I was like, oh, did you love me then, Gruta? You had to smack me down from reality, didn't you, a little bit there?
But that's, yeah, I think that's, I guess, partly why I kind of do like the track.
No, I never knew that. That's really sweet. I'll have to listen to it again now and appreciate it more. I do think that is really visually pleasing, though, that scene, because it's like all springy, flowery, like petally, and
has that dreamlike state to it, obviously, and then that gets shattered when the alarm comes through, and he's got to get through the star system to get to where he needs to be.
You kind of have a bit of a romance, don't you? Kind of a little bit with this as well. Like it's got everything. It's got like the action coming in and being invaded. There's a little bit of romance. There's obviously your music.
Yeah, and there's like heroic, right, I've got to save the day type of thing elements. There's all those kind of elements to it, which I think is akin to what the in the Captain Harlock series, I guess, is what based it on.
But I think what's really clever is like this is only, is it an hour and?
It's an hour and 5 minutes or something like that.
Some movies though, like I've just said, oh, we've got this, and this.
Yeah.
You know, like you're covering so much. But yeah, it's only an hour's length, like, and it shows how you can do something really well in compactly as well.
Yeah. You know, dragging it out. For hours on end. Yeah. Which you'd have if you had like long dialogue scenes, or just walking from one area of a ship to another or something, that kind of stuff. So yes, and
it's a space thing technically. Like I don't like space films normally, so
and just as I say, like I didn't mention at the start, like this, we've gone from last week's. That was a musical, and now we'll come back to a different type of musical. Yeah. Like, sort of like bleeding into each other, like musical, anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of sequence.
I think we should have a musical march.
We'll do theme once every...
Oh, right. We had Monster March.
Yeah, but that's been knocked on the head now.
I think musical march sounds great. Bag it. So after the love scene and he gets in his guitar ship...
There's no love scene.
Well, love, romance, blossom...
Yeah, he gets in his ship, follows the ship where they've been held captive, though he doesn't end up getting to them.
What song's playing then?
What, after that? It's the harder, better, faster, stronger, when they're being transformed into a form more suitable for the public eye on the Earth to relate to. So
it is basically Earth have stolen. So instead of like aliens being invaded onto the Earth, we've gone out of our way to steal aliens.
I mean, the guy, obviously, he looks human. Our villain, I think he's called like Darkwood. Yeah, he very much looks human, but whether he's also an alien himself, because obviously he's got the spaceship and everything to travel across galaxies and. Sorry.
It's got them black blob people that invaded him. Like they don't look human.
with the masks on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's could be anybody under there, but
he's got some robots, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So yes. So obviously he's not. I don't think he's from Earth, but obviously I think there's the notion sort of later on that there could be life forms out there. But anyway, that's by the by. So yes, he's, as you learn later on, that he's kind of like a being who's lived many years, basically. And he's seeking out musicians to basically
glean money.
Yeah, glean money from. So that's what he's doing in this sequence where they're kind of gearing up with new clothes and everything. They're changing their appearance.
They all look miserable, but they're being brainwashed in a sense, haven't they? Because they kind of did the. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's on a little space hopper, and obviously all around him space, and then they change it to being on a little trike.
Change the memories, yeah. So they don't remember who they are, yeah.
So they're not blue skinned, they're waking up and they've got whatever skin pigment.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
They have, and just that kind of obviously there's something to do with the glasses as well. That's
mind control glasses, so you always got to be wearing them, and that's their appearance.
And I think that's the thing where it's like they just constantly look like none of them crack a smile compared to when they were in space.
Yeah, yeah. But at this point, they don't know any different because it's that's what the memories they've been given, as it were, and so they're kind of like this. The whole thing feels like it is like a critique on like the entertainment industry, which could have also like about work stuff, but could also apply to not just music industry, but life's like film industry, like doing projects that you kind of like, oh well, you might have done this one indie film to begin with, but now we want you to do this big like corporate blockbuster type of thing. Like it happens all the time with these.
Well, it's like if you're a young actor,
yeah,
like Home Alone, like his character doing that massive Home Alone 1 and 2, and then he hasn't acted since, has he?
Yeah, no, he isn't. I think he's stepped out. His brother's taken more of the...
Yeah. But that's probably because his brother didn't actually shine and be a star at such a young age.
Yeah, and then they put the pressures on, didn't they?
Yeah. And this kind of, me, when I looked at this kind of scene, I straight away saw Elvis Presley. So we watched that documentary of...
The biopic, yeah.
Elvis.
Yeah, Elvis, yeah.
And basically his manager just shafted him, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like, Elvis was pretty much his slave.
Yeah.
It was like, perform. You're on a stage, you're performing, but he's getting naff all for it, and the guy behind doing nothing of the talent
he's getting all
the
raking
reward.
In the money and everything. Yeah.
And I think that's what the music industry used to be like. Well, I think some of it still is. But I think artists do have the capacity to now go on their own. Like Ed Sheeran, he's got his own record label. Yeah. He's not,
Exactly. You get to a point, I hear these stories all the time with Kendrick and stuff like, we'll make my own record label.
I like Taylor.
That's what I was getting into before that. Where I forget who the manager at the time was when she was younger.
He wouldn't give her all her music back.
So she went ahead, well, I'm just going to re-record all of them.
And do you know who that was thanks to? Kelly Clarkson. So basically she went, well, okay, if he wants your old music, why can't you just recreate it new and your artist will buy it for you? So it's thanks to Kelly Clarkson that we have so many Taylor versions. We're still waiting for Reputation. Just hasn't happened.
Well, not really big fan
I think that's the last one we're waiting for now. I think she's done all the rest. I think is it then basically Folklore and Evermore? That's when.
Yeah, I think so. When she's doing on her own. Yeah. Which, to have been honest, are probably her best ones. But
yeah, true.
But I think it was the same with like Kesha as well. I know it's like songs aren't that great, to be honest. But I know there was like a lot of like grooming back in day for her, like with a.
Was that P Diddy's fault? Oh, there's something going on with him, isn't there? I hadn't really.
Yeah, similar kind of thing. Like just under the thumb of them a little bit, and this is what this is, which leads on to the next song, which is called Crescendos, which is obviously the name of the band.
What is one of those?
What do you mean? Well, it's like a mash of two words, like crescendo and dolls.
What's crescendo mean?
Music.
How does it?
Musical
term. Music doll.
Yeah, I guess so. Which is, I do like the song as well. Even like I said before about how they melded in like musical beats and stuff like to match the animation. We've got little record scratches, like a guy playing doing that as well as part of the. So again, it kind of brings back more to the energetic vibe that everybody's kind of, like, oh, we're excited about this new band that's just come out and everything like that. They're selling the merchandise and everything like that. Rising up in the charts and everything. And
that should be an exciting time for a band, like, like when you just up and coming and you're breaking, like, the industry.
Well, I think that was with One Direction, wasn't it? Like, they were a big sensation. Everyone,
yeah.
I mean, personally, I was like, I didn't really care, and then obviously, they inevitably, a band, even girl pop bands and stuff, they end up splitting, don't they? That little mix.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and going, I want to do my own thing. I follow my own path with my music styles and that I want.
Well, I always think you have in a band, if it's like a boy band like that, and they're all singing, you've got one that's carrying them, aren't you? Like, let's be honest. Like,
I know you probably going to say like Justin Timberlake from
NSYNC.
Like,
even like Gary Barlow or like Robbie Williams, like where are the other two guys? Like, from Take That, like
who are they?
Who are they? It's the same thing with NSYNC. Like, there's only Justin Timberlake that you really know. Like the rest of them, like
they haven't gone and done their own thing, have they?
No. But then it's like you were on about One Direction. Like Harry, really from the get go, could have been a solo singer. It just
but they've had more success on there with from doing that, really. Like, I mean, by that I mean there's more artists from that group going to do their own thing, as opposed to be like, oh well, just one or two of them succeeding.
Liam, bless him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, I think this is a really clever way of depicting how, when you want something so badly, but then actually when you get it, you don't really appreciate it or want it anymore. It's like that kind of vibe.
Although for these characters, it didn't seem like that was the case anyway. It's like, oh, we're rising stars. They were just happy with where they were and just extracted from where their hometown is. And then that goes into the next one, which is a bit more like a darker, like toned down thing, which is like a little piano-y type song where it's called Night Vision, where they're seeing like sort of the after effects of how much they're being pushed to deliver.
It's like
themselves.
They're burnt out, aren't they?
Yeah, like, burnt out, having to like sign posters and
do you think that they're just not getting a break? Like, it's just constant. It literally looked like it was like night and they were trying to like go off and do whatever else they wanted, and it was like, no, you need to be doing this. Like,
you need to be signing.
Very controlling.
Yeah, very much so, which I'm sure again does happen with that, like just pushed, like burn the candle at both ends.
Well, I think this is the same thing like with any artist. Like, for example, I can't remember, I was listening to one of Ed Sheeran's songs, and it was like saying that he was trying to like keep the numbers up and like producing music that probably he wasn't really enjoying as much as he would have done to like his true form. And then it's like, then like I always think an artist is like the first album they do is cracking. Like, it's like Last Dinner Party, for example. The first album they've done is great, but now they've got that expectation.
Yeah, I'm slightly worried as to what. As much as I'm excited to know what's going to be next, is it going to stand out as well as that's
and that's the thing. So
it's a catch-22, isn't it? Yeah.
I always think his second album gets a little bit like frowned upon, or they're trying to keep either the standard up, or they're trying to push another album out too quick and not work on it as quick as well as they did the first.
Time. Yeah.
And then the third album comes, and that's when it's like, oh right, you're back to what your roots were.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of showing a little bit in the sense of this, really. Like, obviously they don't drop, because obviously it's only one album they've got on like the whatever Dolls is rising the charts.
Yeah.
Basically, with One More Time like being the top charter.
Yeah. Which
is obvious. That is, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
I think it's all what's fascinating is it's all about Daft Punk. And basically there's only like one little bit. Am I jumping ahead?
I think that's the Daft Punk cameo is like after this bit where the song called Superheroes plays, and that's like a packed out stadium scene where the band's playing, and then Shep kind of comes in and finds them, and it's like, I'm going to restore them back to how they were with this like little gun thing.
But he attacks the glasses. Yeah. So there's something in the glasses. I don't know what it is.
Just breaks the spell essentially, and it's like they're like, whoa, like.
But they don't turn blue instantly.
Oh no! I don't think that would. I think it's a good choice that they didn't do that. I think it's more just breaking the shattering the illusion of what the for that. But he like hesitates with Stella. I think it's obviously that the romance aspect. But I'm thinking, well, why wouldn't you have?
Done her first.
Or like why you'd want her to be freed from this corporate greed thing. So then the Darkwood guy like steps in and like blocks it so he can't do it. So then
there's like other laser beams then on him. I don't know what that would do to him. Like, would that change him to be human or what? Because like there was other blob guys on the stage like threatening him. So I didn't really know what impact it would have on
so they kind
him if he did get shot.
The three members and him get away, but they're being like pursued by cars and gets shot.
Proper like chase out, isn't it? So you've got quite a bit of action as well as a space film, a little bit of romance.
And there's like some sound effects of like cars screeching and stuff like that, which it makes sense. We get to add to the dramatic effect of that. And then that follows on to Stella and the manager being like already going to some form of Grammy type of thing, and there's the cameo of Daft Punk in that, as if like, are we going to win an award kind of thing, and then I love the little like happy. It's just on one of them, and it kind of looks like it's like, I don't know, like question mark on the other guy's helmet, and then it's like a broken heart when they don't win the Grammys. But I think from that, then as you said, like the drummer has the same gun, and he managed to break the spell for Stella, get her away, and that's the song that is called High Life. Again, it's sort of like a sort of jazzy, like a kind of song for that, like an upbeat one, but like pumping, like for exciting for like the award ceremony type of thing. But at the same time, once that all gets, everyone's free from the spell, it's kind of still adding that extra excitement for the getting away type of thing.
I think it just adds like the drama to it as well, like, you know, because the beat's so quite upbeat and fast. It's kind of like that running away kind of like fast paced movements and such. But
and then slows down again a little bit when sort of like realizing that Shep's been injured and he's gonna die. He's like sacrificing.
I feel like that's really dark for a little anime. Like I feel like they should have been together and he didn't die.
So then it's sort of like showing her like, oh, what we could have had together type of thing. So again, like the dream sequence, but like reversed for her to experience that before he passes and everything like that. So it's quite, say, somber really, but I feel like
I don't think I saw you shed a tear though. So
no, but it's meant to like imply that, isn't it? Like
giving you the feels.
Sacrifice for that.
Sacrifice for the greater good. Wasn't that what I was trying to say? With great responsibility comes
great power comes great responsibility.
I kept on doing it wrong.
And then they kind of realise, he has like a thing of like showing them what they used to be. Obviously, like the blue skin and everything like that. And they were in a band and they were all happy. Thing. So they kind of come across. Mentioned about the fact that before the go to the ceremony, Stella picks up a card that says Darkwood and it's got the address of where he resides. So that's where they head. They've got a clue, essentially, like go to mention that, like the journey there to get to where that, which is kind of Voyager is the name of the set that's playing on that. Which again is like a little funky, like little ride. So I
feel like you've played that in the car as well. Like it's a drive song.
Yeah. And we get to Veridis Quo, I think that's how you say it. This is the scene where they're kind of like discovering more about they find the book about the whole reasoning why this guy's wanting music, essentially. So they learn that it's been centuries and centuries that he's been capturing alien life forms and posing them as like, you know, famous like composers of music in the industry for quite some time. So there's like an example of, it's probably not Mozart, but that kind of somebody who looks like he could be like a child protege, and he was like, oh yeah, everyone loves this music, and like taking their soul, stealing music, and gaining these gold discs.
Is this where the 55555 comes into it?
The 4 5s, yeah. So it needs 5,555 discs, and then he can rule the universe, basically.
Do you think he's some form of super? I don't think he's a human. Like,
no, he's super villain, but that's
because
like I said, the fact that he's like centuries old. He's been doing this for.
He's had Mozart, and then looks like Tina Turner and all the stars.
But I think that's more like a metaphor for like the music industry. Like so, like this has been going on for years and years and years. That and then you wonder why artists, you know, like Whitney Houston and stuff like turn to drugs and everything and that kind of stuff, and pushing them to the absolute limits for means because of, you know, just like the pressures and everything like that. And that still goes on with some artists, doesn't it? So and then it does get resolved from that. They manage to stop him before they can do this, or like the last sacrifice of Stella in the that pod thing, but then they stop it and they throw the disc into the lava, and then it's like, no, and he falls
with
in,
it.
and then that's...
And all the robots follow him as well, which means like they're somewhat linked or something.
To him, It's like you take out the boss and everybody, all the goons go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do they know to get back to space?
When they, after that, I think it's then they learn about, there's memories stored in a building, which is where they go back to the record label building, and then that's when, Octave is the one who gets like the electrocution zap, and then he becomes blue, and then they realise, they aren't who they say they are, and they learn history, I guess, in like a very brief surmising about the fact that they want to get them back to the home.
But I feel like everyone embraces them as blue as well. Like they're really like still on billboards.
Yeah, and stuff like even you see in the crowd and stuff like the fact that the kids like got the blue face now over the top of the they're still wearing the outfits, and so again, it's like a nice thing that in fact they're embracing who they are, even though not shunned completely like some people might be if they learned some horrible truth about them, but that
can be quite fickle.
What's that song called now? I think that's when they're initially in that record label building that's short circuits, that kind of like static, like frenzied kind of music going on for that, and then the next when they learn about who they are and everything, then it's the song Face to Face.
That actually sings, doesn't it? That
bit? A little bit of lyrics in that.
I feel like that was the most lyrical one out of all of them.
I mean, the one after this.
Oh, is that
too long?
What's that? Something?
That's when they're sent up into space, and then they're going back to learn about. It's much too long.
Oh yeah.
Which, if ironically, I think the song is a bit too long. But
I thought you were going to say a bad word about it, to be honest.
And from that, they're kind of coming back, realising sort of the roots, as it were, again, like how artists do with the kind of I remember why we got into this music business in the first place, kind of thing. And so they're kind of back to how they're supposed to be, like guitars and drums and everything like that, and then they're back to playing as the true selves, and everybody in the world's embracing them. There's a statue of Shep for his bravery and everything, on their home planet and everything like that. But I don't know what you feel about the very end of the film, though, where it's sort of revealed that this is a dream, essentially, the little boy is asleep.
Oh, is that what that implies? Oh, yeah.
Is that one? Oh.
Yeah, now I get it. What did I write? Let me just put... Yeah, because then it's he's playing with the toys while he's
asleep.
And he's only got the D side of the vinyl on.
Which, I don't know if it would be funny, but
is that needed?
Is it the little kid putting a needle arm on the thing, be I'm going to be trusting?
Maybe his dad's having the album on while he's playing, and it's just...
Yeah, so I don't know what you made of that as an ending.
I don't think it was required, but it didn't spoil it for me.
No, normally it is a bit when films like this, it was all a dream kind of thing, or TV's that's such a cop out a thing. But I don't know if it's sort of an appreciation for I'd say the legacy, because it's not this is decades after coming across that. So obviously it's a high point when the album was quite still prominent, but appreciation for the music and everything that's kind of been involved in.
And I think it's showing it's timeless as well. It's one of those things where I don't think this piece of music's going to age, in a sense.
I don't think... No, I think this album is, will live on, is, seen as one of the greats in the music industry. I don't know what it is about it as such, but it really doesn't feel like it's, this is really dated,
No, it doesn't. When was the album come out?
It was 2001.
Think about that, that's 24 years old already.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they'll do a 30-year thing for it.
Yeah, they normally do. A lot of bands do that.
Everyone's jumping on the bandwagon now for that, aren't they?
No, they do special editions of albums that have been released the previous year or whatever. But I mean, it's very common to do remasters of albums especially ones that are very prominent within
the career,
sphere and stuff like that. Yeah.
What did you think of the ending with the little boy?
Would
you rather it just ended in playing out a song?
Yeah, I think it even obviously as it's kind of like zoom out from where they are and thing. I think that would have sufficed if it done just something like that, and then if it like zoom out to black and go the end or something, that would have been sufficient. But it didn't like it was absolutely terrible just because of the way it did that. But I kind of sort of get why they did it, and then sort of like a thing that like a generation thing that like young kids and adults I suppose can enjoy.
Everyone can, yeah.
But yeah, it's funny you should say about bring up the timeless aspect, because I do listen to a song I came across on the socials. There's like a remix of someone, it was a YouTuber called Makel, of the Weekend song Timeless. The Daft Punk remix where they overlaid the One More Time beat and Playboy Cardi and Weekend song. It's actually pretty good. Actually,
it is actually. It works really well. But it's just like doing the 360 and 365 like algorithm of
merging it together.
Yeah, which Daft Punk would probably have done as well. Like that would be like the whole album merges.
I think that, like a lot of people could take that beat and overlay it with any sort of tune. I think it's again that shows the strength of their music and their album and the legacy of that, really, if you want to think about it that way. Although the fact that we didn't get to cover it last year, though, is kind of, in retrospect, is kind of a good thing, because at the end of last year, December, they announced they would like a limited release of like cinema release for whatever reason of this film in cinema, like a remaster of the film.
Of the whole film?
Yes.
Not just for the song?
No, not just for the song, no. The whole film, like, on cinemas, but using AI to use it to make it like a high HD remaster, because...
Do you know what? I've got a bit of a gripe with this and a bit of a good but not good.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like now if you go on an Instagram reel, like, I don't know what's real or fake anymore. Like, there's a cute little animal and I go, Paul, does this exist? And like, this is where it's got to, like, and where I'm like, I don't know what's real or not.
I'm looking at things work, and it's like these photos of certain things, and it's like I can totally tell that's like AI. Even says AI generated, and without even that saying, I'm going, that doesn't look like there's some like cartoon shading on.
Yeah, but like people now, like there's actual people that are AI that look like people. Yeah, it's like, is that a real? Like, am I going to be questioning this? Going, is that a real person? Like, do we need even actors and actresses now because they can make an AI thing do it?
Well, this is the thing with this, is that like I've showed you like a brief clip of like the One More Time sequence. Like there is on YouTube. If you type Interstella 5555 remaster, then there's like a playlist of songs that I guess taken from the film, and you can. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks a bit cleaner. But I would say, like, compared to the Blu-ray, I'd still stick with the Blu-ray with that, because you can definitely tell, like, there's like, when you even say with the background characters and stuff, it's, or long distance, I think the animation looks smeared, kind of thing. It has that AI generated thing, which is, I do get the reasoning more so behind this, because there is actually no, like, way to properly remaster this film, because of it's like sort of lost to time, really. It was not kept well to the raw file, essentially. So if you think about like a Photoshop file, you've lost that, and now you've only got a JPEG to work with, which is a lower quality, and it's like, right, make this more high def or something like that. It's like, well, can only go so far, or remove this and things like that. It's not going to be able to do it.
Japanese director have all the drawings, because was it all hand drawn?
I think there was some elements of that saved, but that would take a hell of a lot of work to essentially do it from scratch to recreate everything, unfortunately. So I think it's one of those instances where you either stick with what I've got, the Blu-ray, if you can find it, or you go with these AI things. Like, well,
it did look good at the beginning. Like certain parts, like do look sharper. Like I will say, but then there's certain bits, like on the concert, where you can see like the characters that are meant to be the lead ones look more smeared than the foreground.
Yeah,
like,
but it happens all the time.
Like the focusing it's whatever AI is doing, it's focusing on the wrong thing, not the right thing.
There's been complaints about that with things like James Cameron stuff like Aliens, where that's kind of, they look like plasticky kind of thing. The skin tones and everything just don't look right. There's things in other films where, again, like background characters in the far distance, they look like merged like a nightmare. But I mean, you can get away with it in some cases. Obviously, if you're really nitpicking at things, you can be like
but
that.
I think it doesn't help with you with the eye that you've got, on these things.
It's very obvious, but that's just me. But
I feel like for somebody who's not got that, maybe it wouldn't be as.
Yeah. So it's it is what it is, unfortunately. But that's not to say anything to take away from the film as a whole. No. Enjoy it how you want, but just making it apparent that that's a thing. And I'm not overly like, AI's great in some instances. Like if you use Chat GPT to help you out with like ideas and stuff, that's great. But in terms of a visual aid, still not quite on board with how that
useful to generate me a cover letter or
in that sense, great. So things like that just to help you out with things. But when it comes to actual passion of somebody who loves to create art and stuff,
even music, like they can do AI things with music now.
You can do that. They can, I've showed you examples of that in the past, which is it's a little bit funny to mess around with, but at the same time thinking about this could be, and they would get to a point where like, is the artists even real anymore? Is it like, this is a great song, who's it by? It's by some
AI
by
generator.
the computer. Like, okay.
But then imagine that, like if you wanted to go to a concert because you like all the songs they've done, then what would that even look like?
You like the Gorillaz?
I guess, yeah.
Where they're obviously not. It's like a fictional band, but they've got the visuals of that. But but that's still something that's.
Well, I feel like Daft Punk is kind of a little bit like that. There's just two men with masks on. You don't really know.
They're not
their identity, do you?
Not split up, but they're not performing anymore.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like, do you like out on the street? You wouldn't go, that's him from Daft Punk, would you? You wouldn't know it.
But that's good in a way because they're never not being pounded by people.
Taylor Swift shows on
that. But I think that's been quite a long one, but I think it's more worthy of been talking about those kind of
very
things.
Passionate, mister.
So I hope that's come across, and I do implore you to check out the film. It's it's probably a hell of a lot easier finding it online through these AI snippets, but if you could find somewhere else, like if you know where to look, then do seek it out as a whole film in one go. So I guess we'll go into the scores now, and since you would have seen it for the first time last year, we'll start with your score for this.
I'm a bit scared because I feel like you've driven this podcast, you've been the one that's been quite passionate about it, and even was like persistent in re-watching it and redoing it this year. I don't think I've got the love of it as much as you have. I feel like you're appreciating it on a higher level than me. So maybe that, I don't know. I'm a bit scared. I don't think I'm being ungenerous.
Okay.
But if anything, I think I've been a bit too generous. But
just tell me what it is.
So I think for the animation, the music, and overall just the lengthiness of it, and the way that it can portray.
You should give it a high score for like this only an hour long.
And the way it portrays like feelings, emotions, and gets everything kind of boxed off in an hour. There's a lot in there to cram in, but it doesn't mean it needs to be longer or shorter. The visuals are really stunning. I do prefer them when they're blue. I think it's just, I don't know.
More colourful.
Yeah, it's more colourful and it just works. So I'm thinking overall, I'd probably give it an 8. I can't give it much higher. I think that's just more because I've not got the love of Daft Punk within me. Like, I do like the music, but I couldn't name them all like you've just done. And
no, even to be honest, even I had to write that down to remind myself what the tracks are. Certain ones I do play more than others, but
it's enjoyable to watch. I would recommend it to anybody. It makes you realise what corporateness can be like in any kind of situation, and we all just have to focus on what keeps us happy.
So for me, it's not top marks.
Oh, it's not a 10.
Yeah, that's not. No, it's gonna be a 9.
Okay, that's fine then.
I think
What if I'd have given it a 6? What would have happened?
Wouldn't been best impressed, to be honest. To be quite honest. Like, don't get me wrong, like, the fact that it encompasses everything in the short length of time, it kind of fits around the album. It all kind of, for the majority of it, like, really works, like, the tone of those scenes that play out and everything like that. And I get the messaging that it's getting across with it. I don't know, for it not being top marks, I think it's just something that's kind of come back to every now and again and be like appreciated. Like if I wanted to have a visual aid to the album, when obviously like if I want to listen to the album, I could just put it on whenever. Obviously on vinyl, it's only playing like 4 sides, so you're breaking up the songs anyway in that sense. But rather than just putting a CD on or something like that, or playing the album on Spotify.
For it not to be a 10 then for you, it's because like The Shining, every year you'd watch it again and again.
I think that's part of it. Yeah, other than the fact that the music's got emotional point at some points, it's not throughout. I'm going, oh yeah, I'm like, I suppose it's not like one of my favorite. It is a great album. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like one I always constantly wanting to listen to.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, it's like okay, and wouldn't be constantly.
And I think it's the visuals as well. Like obviously the animation is beautiful. But like if you compare it to like The Shining, where it's got that music and it's going up the hill and the ominous of it all.
I mean, that's very different because it's not an anime. But there's other animation films and anime that I get more feel emotion for that.
I think it's hard because obviously the characters aren't speaking.
Yeah.
But then there was that little Christmas special that had was it with a little owl? Oh no, they did speak. There has been some things where we've watched like a little bird and it's been like a little shorts thing on like Disney.
Yeah, like say about the Pixar shorts, yeah.
Yeah, and it still got me more than this kind of did, I guess, in that capacity.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's down to that really, so.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I really thought you were going 10.
And partly wishes there could be a proper remaster, but I know that's probably never ever going to happen. There's plenty of other films you're thinking, how has that got a 4K remaster of this really like obscure film? Yeah, it is funny how it works sometimes. So, last thing to do then, we've gone quite long now, is thank the Patreons for their continuing support with the show. There will be, of course, an anime related one to pick for us later on in the month. So if you want to do that, head over to patreon.com/SP Film Viewers, and you get the opportunity to vote for a movie we watch once a month and have your name read out every single episode for as little as £1 or $1.50 a month. You get those perks. So, we have Nico from the Good, the Bad and Weird podcast, Mark from 100 Things to Learn from Film, and Ben from Ben Push Pull Health, formerly Film Vloggers.
So we then got family and friends. So we've got my mum. We've got Gren under the handle C_Gren_draw. Emma under the handle M_Hayton. Jonesy under the handle Weight Loss Jonesy. We've got Shani and Alex under the handles SDOG and Desperately Seeking Username, all on Instagram.
Yes, thanks guys for that, and we'd obviously love any more family members to join and help with the votes and everything.
Yeah.
So yes, look forward to covering more anime films throughout the month.
Me too.
I think picked a strong selection.
You've actually organised. This is the first time you've been really organised.
Properly organised with it, yeah.
Excited. We actually had a little collab conversation, didn't we, about it all?
Yeah, we did. A meeting about it.
We did have a meeting.
Yeah. Pretty sure there's not going to be... Yes, there's going to be no Akira.
Good.
This time.
Good.
So it should all be good for that.
Happy.
Yeah. So, thank you very much for listening to this episode. Hope we've inspired you to go and check out the film. And we'll speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.